I see the weight that's on your shoulders. The autumn leaves, yeah, they change and we feel older. He gave his attention to someone else, thought he could leave your heart on a shelf. You don't need that girl. You couldn't see through all of his lies, him starting the fights and no compromise. You don't need that girl.
Good morning, everybody. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome back to our channel, and welcome back to another days in my life as a high school teacher. If you're new here, my name is Cheney. I am a high school teacher in the state of Oklahoma, second-year high school teacher. I teach Latinx studies and women's studies. I'm also a PhD candidate, and I'm a mom. So on my channel, I just document me trying to figure shit out and trying to balance it all. So if you are interested in that kind of content, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, because I know you're gonna want to stay around. Today starts the first day of the first full week of school for the 2022-2023 school year. It's currently my plan, which is also 4th hour. Are you gonna make an announcement or not? It beeped like if they were gonna make an announcement, but then they never did. So it's currently my planning period, which has been the first time today that I've been able to sit down and check in with you guys. This morning we had a meeting at 8 o'clock to go over lunch duty. Lunch duty is literally the bane of my existence. Like I do not want to do it, but I guess, you know what, Cheney, I'm just grateful that I'm not outside. Last year I was outside and it was not a good time. Kids were sneaking off in their car before I could even get outside. Like, I kid you not, these kids would get out of class a few minutes early, right before lunch, and bolt it to their cars before anyone was even able to catch them leave. And I swear to God, I hated lunch duty for that reason. And then they would be bold enough to just walk right past you and start to go to their car, and I'm like, excuse me, where are you going? Hello, do you have a pass to leave? Oh, I'm going to my car to get my phone. No, you don't. Your phone's in your hand. You're not going anywhere, okay? Like, I just hated that so much. So I am so glad that my lunch duty is right outside my door in the cafeteria, which, you know, no lunch duty position is ideal, but if I have to be anywhere, I guess being right next to my classroom is the best place that I can be. But let me tell you what I'm doing in class today. So for my women's studies, this is our first day getting into actual women's studies content. The first 2 days that we had last week were spent on starting to create a foundation for relationship building, community, and classroom culture. So if you missed that video, I will put it in the cards up here so that you can go back and watch that. I like to start the first few minutes of my class with something that is lighthearted and not related to content at all. And today it was a riddle. Last year I used journal prompts, which were usually not related to content. They were usually a little bit more self-reflective or lighthearted, like, what do you think about this? Would you rather do this or that? And you'd have to, like, they'd have to choose one and obviously explain why they chose what they did. But this year I'm thinking about doing riddles, and I found a whole bunch on the internet, on the webs. And today's riddle was, what is something that you always have and can never get rid of? And the first person who gets it right gets a Jolly Rancher. My first hour, somebody guessed it without having to give any hints or anything like that. And then my second and third hour, I had to give hints, and I asked them if anyone had seen Peter Pan, and obviously that was a mistake because they were born in like 2005. So third hour, I kid you not, I was like, has anyone seen Peter Pan? Not a single hand was raised, and I said, where am I? How did I get here? The answer was a shadow. Something that you always have and can never get rid of. It was a shadow. But for my women's studies course, after we do that, I am having them work with their table to do some research on women's issues throughout time, just kind of as an introductory activity to get us started talking about women. I wrote down different time periods on these little strips of paper. So one of them says women's issues during the 1920s, women's issues during medieval times, women's issues during the 2000s, like just a variety of time periods. And they have a series of questions to answer. So I have them designate someone so that everyone has a job and nobody is just like on their phones doing whatever, which I'm sure at some points they are, but they need to designate someone to do the writing for them, and they need to break up the questions so that everybody is doing something to help the group out. I highly recommend, if you're going to be doing group work like this, you need to have them designate jobs, because if you don't, what you will have in your classroom is students passing around the paper. They look up the question that they're supposed to answer, they pass around the paper, and everybody writes down the answer that they are looking up. And so what you have is students who are not collaborating. Instead, they're doing like this trading off system, which of course is still some form of teamwork, like they're getting it done together, but I want them to talk. So you found, you know, women's issues, what were women facing in the 1920s? Here's what I found, and you're gonna write it down. And then at the end of them working together to answer these questions, and I have them think about the last two questions, which are any of these issues that women were facing in the time period that you drew still relevant today? Which ones? Why do you think this is still an ongoing issue? And then the last question is, I can't remember. And then we have different time periods on my whiteboard, and I go group by group and they share with us what they learned about what women were facing over time. And we look at the list and look at even, you know, from the medieval times to the 2000s, women still dealing with some of the same issues, and talking about why do they think that we're still dealing with this. It's just to kind of get their feet wet a little bit. Sixth graders are getting in trouble for not sitting down at lunch. Okay, I just wanted to say thank you who I know have supported my classroom in some way. Incredibly generous. I don't even know what to say. Last week I had a friend that told me that I should share my Amazon wish list on Instagram, and I usually don't. Like, I have it listed in my description, but I usually don't, like, hey, you know, if you're looking for a room to support, like, my classroom needs a few basic items and some things that I think would really benefit my students. And I wasn't really expecting anything, but I'm just blown away. I don't even know what to say except thank you from the bottom of my heart. Got some sticky notes. I use these little ones for activities for my kids. And I got some menstrual products for emergencies or students who in general just need them. I also got a bell hooks book, which I put on my bookshelf, and then I also got a book called I Choose to Say No. I'm planning to use that sometime this semester for talks about consent with my women's studies class. Some really awesome dry erase markers that are like unusual colors, and they're magnetic, first of all, and they have erasers attached to them. My friend Lydia sent me a bunch of glue sticks for art projects that we'll be doing. Lydia also sent me a whole bunch of Jolly Ranchers for my students that I use all the time. They love it. And some more menstrual products. I'm just over the moon. I have friends and family out there who care enough about my profession to help me give my students some of the basic things that they need, and also things that enhance their learning experience while they're in my classroom. So I just wanted to show you guys and say thank you so much, because I just can't believe it. some of these have names on them and some of these don't. I know these came from Lydia. Another one of these came from Cash. And another one came from Amanda. So thank you so much. I literally can't believe it. All right, now what I need to do for the remainder of my plan is plan. So I'm gonna take you along with me today for a days of my life as a high school teacher. So I'm sure most of you do this, but we spend so much time here at school in this place as educators. I have a stash of snacks. Let me know down in the comments what your what kind of snacks do you have to have at school? What kind of snacks do you keep at school? I just have a variety of different things. I have, and in different places, mind you. So they're not just for me, they're also for students if they are hungry and need something to snack on or something in their stomach, especially with kids who come into my third hour. I feel like in high school by third hour, students are starving. Some of these things are so random. I have little mini pies. And I don't even know what filling this is, it doesn't say. I think it's cherry, teeny tiny little pies. And I have a big thing of pistachios in my desk. I also have dates. I have a package of dates in my desk. And then I have things like tortilla chips because I have salsa in my fridge. The fridge that I keep in the classroom. I have my Jolly Ranchers, of course, but those are for competition and students who are on task and doing what I need them to do. I do also have some little vegan protein balls. I don't know where I got those, but I have those in my fridge as well. And I feel like I have snacks on snacks, like I'm stacked on snacks for a while. If you're around and you need snacks, you can come see me. I'll give you a couple dates.
For the two of us, ooh, I ain't got space.
School ended about 40 minutes ago, I believe, and I'm still here. As we have established, if you're new here, I am a procrastinator. I was really good about not procrastinating last year, but for some reason this year I'm starting off strong in the procrastination whatever. Sorry if you hear people talking on microphones outside. It looks like the middle school is having a very important admin parent meeting with all the parents from the middle school. I don't know. Seems kind of serious and it's only the third day of school, but whatever. If you are a new teacher, if you're a first year teacher going into your first year of teaching, first of all, congratulations. You're gonna do great. We are all here rooting you on. Take this one piece of advice and try to print all your stuff in advance, because I have been that teacher who comes in the morning of and needs to make 60 copies, maybe 120 copies, not packets, not multi-page packets for 120 students. But I have been that teacher who needs to do a print job and I'm stuck in the queue behind 3 other teachers who are doing 360 copies of packets and have not had my product ready for my students when they come in the door. So if you will take any advice from me, who's only a second year full-time high school teacher, even though I have taught college, but that is like a whole different world, please consider making any copies that you need to make either at the end of the week for next week or right after school, something so that you're not hauling ass to get to school before it starts, so that you can make it to the printer and make your copies, because it's just gonna stress you out. Just do yourself a favor, girl, and print it beforehand.
Oh, I don't think that falling in love will happen to us. No matter how hard we try to live our fantasies across the seas. But I'm afraid the ship has sailed, 'cause I don't think you want me here with you. And now you want me gone.
I came home and I had a few more Amazon packages, and I just want to say, I obviously do not expect anything from anyone. I do have a Donors Choose. I have actually 2 open Donors Choose projects, but I made them at the end of last year. And I think because of that, they haven't done very well. On my Instagram, I just posted the link and showed what was on my Amazon wish list for my classroom for family and friends. And then I don't expect anyone to get me anything. I don't want to pressure anyone into feeling like they have to give to my classroom. I just have it there in case somebody is looking for a classroom to support and they would like to, for some reason, support my classroom. I got 4 books in the mail, and one of them came with a little note from someone who watches my videos, and I have seen you in the comments, girl. I love this. I'm gonna keep this forever, actually. I know that that's cheesy, but I really am gonna keep it forever. You know who you are. I don't know if you want to be mentioned or not, but my classroom got a book called Cool Salsa. It is a collection of poetry that highlights and talks about the experiences of growing up Latino in the United States. So I knew right away that my students would love that. It also goes really well with the course. And then we also got this book called Furia. Some of the most supportive friends. I don't know what I would do without them.
To be thinking about you.
Gloss that, love it when you toss it back, love it when you talk back. Girl, you get me off track, so off-white tracksuit, just so I can floss, yeah. With my new bitty, she ain't let my soft yet. Could've been you, still feeling on my ditty, but you lost that. You had real privileges for this, all snap. Now you getting time out, cause you hit it when my heart's at. Got me going deeper than Amari when that ball snap. Heard you sold your soul on Macari, got you call lacking. Now I'm next door, at the party while you jaw jacking. You know it's shot in the rarest and the raw fashion. I'm still trying to figure how this all happened.
So you're gonna take a break from the map really quick, but leave it on your table. If you will just get out a blank piece of paper. If you need paper, I have plenty over here on this white bookshelf. The first rule on this piece of paper is to not put your name on it and do not put the name of anybody else on it. It is anonymous, not your name, not the name of friends, not the name of family, anything. You're gonna write down, think about it for a second. You're gonna write down on that piece of paper what is stressing you out the most right now. It can be about school, but it doesn't have to be. It can be about something going on at home, relationships, your job. Maybe you're not getting along with your boss, you have a job. It can be anything that is stressing you out right now, and you're gonna write that down. Okay, now you can open it up. Go ahead and open it. Read it to yourself. Then if you're sitting at a table and you have somebody next to you, you're gonna read it to that person. So you're gonna take turns reading that out loud. What is stressing some of us out? Okay, so someone in here is having a good season in their life and they don't feel stressed out about anything, and that's okay. What else is stressing us out? Huh? Siblings are hard to deal with sometimes, yes. You have a lot going on. Plus all of this every day, it's a lot. So, everything that's stressing you out, or at least one thing that's stressing you out right now, has been written down on paper. It's been given to somebody that doesn't know that it's your stressor and it's been said out loud. So it's just out there floating in the air right now. It's out in the open for everybody. You're gonna take that paper and you're gonna crumple it up kind of aggressively with some emotion and some anger, and you're gonna go throw it in the trash. There's one right there and there's one over here behind you. You're gonna throw whatever is stressing you out right now in the trash, at least for today. Happy Wednesday, you guys. It is already Wednesday and I feel like I'm dragging a little bit. Not that I'm having a bad day or anything like that. I just feel like today's going by a little bit too slow for me, and I'm trying to figure out how to speed it up. So today my two classes are doing a lot. They're doing the most. Not in terms of like acting out or anything like that. I have them doing the most. So for my Latinx kids, they're picking a Central American country, which follows along the theme of Central American geography that we're doing. Now they are learning about those countries so they can place them on a map. Let's actually learn something about them. Before we start getting into like actual Latino experiences in the United States, I want them to know what some of these Latin American countries are like, because that plays a big part in the overall running themes in a Latinx course. I think it's important for them, it's important for me to facilitate their learning through getting them to know these countries. So there's 7 countries in Central America. Each table picks a country. They draw at random. They don't choose. I choose for them by chance. Draw the luck, I guess. They have to do research on that country. They become experts on that country, and then they teach us. Not experts as in like they know everything about everything. I give them a series of questions that I want them to answer. It's general knowledge and then a little bit of more unique characteristics and knowledge about the country that they drew. And then my women's studies groups we are diving into gender versus biological sex and gender roles and gender stereotypes, and really kind of breaking those down. They're really enjoying that. I didn't have them do a whole lot of independent work other than reflecting on a couple of questions and then sharing that with their table, and then coming up with lists with each other about gender stereotypes and jobs that are traditionally associated with either female or male and things like that. I'm having a lot of fun today. It just something about today seems like it's dragging. But I'm gonna go plan. It's 4th hour. No, it's not 4th hour. It's lunch now. So I'm gonna go eat lunch. I'm gonna plan, and then I will catch up with you guys later.
You know this.
Wednesday is over. The only thing left for this week is Friday Eve and Friday. My desk, I know we're only 5 days in to school. My desk is a messy mess, and I need to organize it because it's driving me crazy. Plus I have a bunch of stuff here that I don't necessarily need. I'm not taking it for a grade, so I might as well just figure out a way to get rid of it. My students really liked the Central American countries activity that we did. They had a lot of fun putting that together and presenting for their class. I made it as fun as I can. Normally when they would have their Chromebooks, I would have them make us a cute little presentation, share pictures, share music, but we don't have those yet, so we just had to do what we could with what we had, and what we have is nothing. Good morning. It is Friday. We did make it. I'm not going to talk too long because class is going to start and the bell's going to ring any minute. But I just wanted to come in and let you know what we're doing today. So our women's studies class, we are starting to talk about body positivity. We're also continuing our discussion on gender stereotypes and kind of breaking or disrupting gender stereotypes. And we're going to be using the film Dumpling to kind of talk about that and facilitate that discussion. So I'm excited about that. So it's kind of an expansion on gender stereotypes, and now we're moving into like body positivity, images about women's bodies, how society expects them to look, what happens when they don't look that way, and why it's normal for your body to look exactly the way it does. And then for our Latinx class, we are doing a deep dive into Central American experiences prior to any kind of immigration. So although our class does focus a lot on Latino experiences here in the United States, that's not all it focuses on, but that is a large part of it. We first need to learn about Latin American countries, experiences there, why people choose to immigrate, learn a little bit about the US role in all of that. And then so they are learning about 6 different children in Central American countries who grow up and experience life in places like Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, and how their life has changed throughout adulthood, if they've stayed there, if they've migrated, if they've had children that have left, ways in which the United States has impacted their countries. They did that yesterday. They learned very intimate details about these people's lives, and today they are sharing that with their classmates. So it's kind of a jigsaw activity where they become experts in something and then they share that information with their classmates, and we get to put this puzzle together. So that will be really fun, and I'm excited for them to do that. But I'm gonna go ahead and go. I just wanted to quickly check in and let you know what we were doing today. I hope all of you are having a great week. I am very tired. Yeah, I will maybe talk about that later, I don't know, but I'm feeling very tired today, and just not great in general. Not that I'm sick, I'm feeling today.